All right. Good morning, everybody. What is up? Thanks for joining Gabe and I today for episode number 39 of the Tattoo Weekly. If y'all are watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or the Reinventing website, just let us know that these streams are working in the chat, or please tag a friend who loves tattoos and would like to join in on the fun. Check out some of our Reinventing weekly drawing groups and shows on our network too. I'll run through a couple of them because if you're not here now, you might be able to watch some of these on our replays. Every Sunday, we have Jason Leeser with his skill building Sunday drawing group. Also, Monday mornings is Drawing for Tattooers with James Wisdom, followed by right here, the Tattoo Weekly at 11 a.m. Monday evenings are the Evolution class led by Guy Aitchison, as well as Robbie Rapol's Let's Talk About Feelings. Tuesday mornings at 10 is Ricardo Sturdivant's Tuesday Feelings Drawing Group. Wednesdays at noon is our TattooNow show, and you can find our Reinventing Business course bi-weekly at 1. Thursday nights at 6 is Tattoo Collecting 101, and then we start it all over again on Sunday with Jason. All of these events can be found on our homepage, as well as our YouTube and our Roku channel. Before we get started with Gabe and I today, let's say thank you to all of our sponsors for helping us push all of this content out to you guys. We've got Alex's World Tattoo Events, giving us the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events in the world. You can find literally hundreds of event listings at his website, worldtattooevents.com. Also, shout out to Raw Pigments with their acrylic-free inks being used by artists around the world, including Europe. Support Reinventing the Tattoo by using their code Reinventing the Tattoo at checkout to get 10% off of your order. Also, thank you to DLize Pro for helping artists and clients protect their art, and some of our affiliates, Fireside Tattoo, The Apprenticeship Diaries, and eco-friendly tattoo supplies.com. Lastly, I want to mention our second trimester of the Reinventing Evolution is underway. If you guys want more information, we touch on it usually weekly. The weekly classes are held every Monday night at 9, and you can find out more information about the various learning platforms on our website. Otherwise, we don't have Jake today, but we have a cool show ahead of us with Gabe and I. Haven't seen you for a little while, Gabe, so I'm sure we got to catch up.
And Iggy, you decided to join us.
Oh, awesome.
Maybe the puppy goes, oh, I like to bother him. Yeah. I do have my other dog tattooed on me by Bob Tyrell. I started off as not a dog person at all. My wife just, well, the way that I really described it to my wife is like, why would I like an animal that chases after me and bites my heels, right? But after getting a Boston Terrier, actually it was a tattoo story. There was a tattooer who was tattooing a breeder, had a Boston Terrier puppy. And when my daughter saw it, she says, you know, that dog is in my heart. So a couple tattoo sessions later, we had a Boston Terrier. And now, that was years ago, so now I'm a dog person. Anyways, I'm Gabe Ripley from TattooNow. I think we have to do the introductions. Sorry. I'm now a dog person.
Yeah, for sure. What's up, y'all? I'm Lauren from Raw Pigments and Reinventing the Tattoo. Happy to be here today. And we're back.
Okay, and we're going to make a couple more jokes about meeting that we need to tighten up our show just a little bit to get one more sponsor so that we can get a new intro. Yikes. Every Monday at 11 o'clock. And we have been doing it religiously, so we'll probably continue, it seems.
Oh, yeah. I think a few weeks ahead from now, I'll be on the road, so I always enjoy those shows, even though Monday mornings after conventions are hard, but I love kind of like reiterating what went down or like who we ran into at a lot of these shows. You almost never know who you're going to see.
Oh, it's amazing. And usually by 11 o'clock on Monday, again, unless it's they're, in an airport, enough sleep to be able to be functional in front of the cameras. Although, as Jake's saying, like he's out in Austin, Texas now tattooing, and then sometimes the clients want to get tattooed early, which is why we're missing him. But it'll be fun to hear about his Austin adventures. There's a lot of great tattooers in Austin. If anybody is, wants to post up who their favorite Austin tattooers are in any of the chat rooms, let us know. We'll feature them here. Actually, we could play the that game too. If anybody is watching and wants to post up any of their inspirations into the chat rooms, we could do some art show-offs, tattoo show-offs.
Yeah, I'd have to say in Austin, obviously Kate's down there. Shanghai Kate's an awesome one. I think she just got tattooed, if I'm not mistaken. She was just tattooed. Obviously,
Moses, she was on Walter Isaacson fucking interviewed her, she said. He's like a biographer, like he's an official fucking full on.
Yeah, I saw something like that posted on her page at one point.
That's like serious. Like that guy's a biographer of like some serious people. And like, I'm not like, I don't get so fluttered over most academics. Listening to him talk, in some serious interviews. At first I was like, wow, how'd that happen? And then I was like, well, wait a minute. If you're of his ilk and you're searching for somebody that's seen, the most of tattooing, there's only Kate and like 3 other people. There can't be too many more than a dozen, of that crew that are still around that have been, that high profile for so long. Anyways, I was wicked cool. Excited. So yeah, she's definitely in. I'll put up our website real quick.
Yeah, and I was going to say another favorite would be obviously David Vega.
Yeah, for sure.
Trent Velo's down there. Andy Foe. Jamie Mahood.
Jamie's great.
Yeah.
I can't get them all here. I hate using the Instagrams to have a devotional tattoo. Here we go. Cool.
Yeah, they're up at the Oasis in Austin. So if you ever have a chance, it's literally a beautiful location. They say it has the most beautiful sunset in Texas.
Nice. That's Jamie's. She's been on Drunk Critique a couple times.
Yeah, she's
which
super
is always
cool.
Fun. But,
yeah.
Boom! Look at that. Anybody fans of Black and Gray definitely should know who she is if they don't already.
Yeah, she's phenomenal.
Yep. Oh, look at that. Yeah. It's definitely fun to catch up with people from different parts of the States. Austin's definitely like fun. 100%. Let's see, Devotion. And we've got David Vega. Bam, this guy also with the Black and Gray. What the fuck?
He's such a good guy.
Shit. Oh, he is. He is. Absolutely. I look at that. Like just the way he's rendering some of that stuff here. This one's, I'm not sure I could go big on any of them, but look at that.
Yeah, I think he's honestly kind of gained the status of the best portrait artist in the world. One of top 3.
It certainly, like as far as his rendering is concerned, there are very few people that could render like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Shanghai Kate, knowing the history. There's a really good interview with her and Marco Scarbo.
Oh, okay. I think was she on the Tattoo Weekly once? Was that
she did. Yeah, there's actually one with her on the Tattoo Weekly not too.
She was so cool.
6 months ago.
Yeah, it was fun to talk to her.
Yeah. So anyone that's interested in tattoo history, what is it? ShanghaiKates.com. Yeah.
Speaking of, over the weekend, I was at one of my sister's restaurants, and I was there, and I walk in, and there's 2 people sitting at the bar. So I struck up a conversation with them, and the girl, her dad actually started tattooing under Huck Spalding in New York a really long time ago. Yeah. And then, so we started talking. He ended up, him and his best friend hit the road, and they decided to look into opening tattoo shops. But unfortunately, in most places in the United States, there were zoning laws. So what they did first was they traveled around with the circus, right? And so they did that, and then he ended up in Alabama, fell in love. And what they decided to do was in Alabama, Texas, Nevada, and I think 1 or 2 more states, they kind of understood and addressed zoning laws so that they were able to. So he kind of created the kind of like a pioneer situation to get tattoo
the
shop
model.
started in the first place. Yeah, some of their stories were incredible. Some of the stuff she has at home in terms of like things from her dad's friends, like Ed Hardy or Huck or any of
Yeah.
them. It's such cool history that I think like if it doesn't really get shared, some of it just kind of flies under the radar like it never happened.
Oh, it's so rough. It gets thrown out.
Yeah.
I mean, what'll happen is all of those, it gets thrown out and dies if we don't record it and keep it.
Yeah, Jay's been doing a great job of that, but like with family members who are kind of, her brother is a tattoo artist in Wisconsin. And they do their own at keeping some of the stuff, but a lot of people, they don't have, they kind of just keep it in their house or they keep it in their family rather than maybe some of the museums like Carrie's or Jay or Lucky
Sure.
or something like that.
It was fun. I was in I host the vintagetattoo.com site.
Oh, okay.
So that's a private collector who was, let's see, the lineage is friends with Rollo, Mike Malone.
Okay.
And so he ended up, this is the very first tattoo artist magazine. We had a TattooNow ad in it. And this is, I mean, I don't know, somebody could let me know in the chat room when the very first tattoo artist magazine was. But this art collector reached out to me, said, I have a whole bunch of Sailor Jerry original watercolors.
Let's see.
And I was like, that's crazy. What are you talking about? And he's like, well, you know, friends with Rollo and I've got them. And so we started putting them up. I learned so much about how to price vintage art and unique art through that decade. And it was pretty nuts. You know, anytime anybody would complain about the price, he would be like, oh yeah, and then raise the price by $500. What the fuck are you doing? You can't do that. He's like, you know,
Watch me.
6 months later.
How is it kind of appraising vintage stuff like that? What is the process like?
It's, you know, almost everything is just an opinion. You know, I mean, it's worth how much somebody will pay for it. And certainly as through the course of the decade, you know, people would go to Lyle Tuttle and be like, the guy's charging, you know, $10,000 for a piece of, you know, some of these flash pieces or $5,000. Lyle would be like, oh, you should go fuck himself. That's not worth that shit. Like my ex-wife threw out, you know, shit like that too. Like, you know, and so then somebody would come back and be like, I just talked to Lyle. And Lyle said that there's no fucking way he'd ever pay that. And then the dealer would be like, well, that's okay, because I'm not talking to Lyle about buying it. I'm talking to you, and the price just went up $2,000. What the fuck are you talking about? You know? And
No, that's awesome.
It was pretty amazing, you know, and I watched that also happen with Harley parts too. You know, ultimately, you know, what happens, and this is twice, fuck, I've lost my fucking chopper that was made from parts in the biker's backyard, because as I was running around with 20 years ago, running around with a biker at the swap meets, someone comes along and says, oh, this is all real amazing, authentic stuff. And the, you know, biker's like, fuck yeah, it is, you know, and the guy says, I want to buy it all. And the guy says, you can't fucking afford what the fuck, fuck off. And but this guy hit him at the right time, right place. He's like, look, this is what we do. We find backyards that are like yours, buy it all. So then I thought I had learned my lesson, you know, to get that shit quick. But when somebody came in and said, I want to buy all of the rest of the Sailor Jerry flash, I was like, wait, can't you like save that dragon sheet for me? And the dealer was like, you can't do that. When somebody comes in and says, I want to buy everything, you can't be like, yeah, sure, you'll buy everything except for, well, you get to save a couple, you get to save two, you know, 1 or 2 cherries for yourself, but you don't get to save any for anybody else. So away it all went. All the whole flash off to, I don't know, Scotland, went to the Sailor Jerry, the company, the liquor company that owns Sailor Jerry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
So, but anyways, that's those are some of my stories. I have one more. I do want to show off Nick Baxter's work, because we were talking about Austin, Texas.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There are so many good tattooers in Austin.
There's no doubt about it. Nick has been a long time, you know, TattooNow and Fireside tattoo friend, really. Oh, come on, I want to see the work big. You know, you know what? This is actually not a horrible transition into our next topic. What's going on here? How come? Let's give me some weird behaviors here. Sorry, website. You know, My computer's doing, or my, no, it's not my computer. It's just the website. Oh, no, my computer's being a little wonky. Go figure. Well, hopefully it'll sort itself out before the next segment. But one of the things that impressed me from Nick right away was his attachment to political statements, real statements. So this would be in the, I mean, I guess like 2000, 2001, 1999-ish. I don't know, right around that turn is when Nick landed at Darkside. And for one, technically, you know, he was already like on the path, you know, to like, everyone was blown the fuck away. But part of it was his drive, his ethics, and his morals, and his, you know, politics, his anarchist politics, or, you know. But one of the things that happened was because he was saying something with his art, it attracted, I mean, it repelled people, but it attracted a lot of the right people. I remember a lot of the early animal rights tattoos and whatnot. So I don't know, like I followed that for a long time. You know, I was definitely getting really inspired by it. So I married my politics to my public persona and the business persona, which also worked great, right? Like I got to, you know, align with like-minded people, although that doesn't mean that, I mean, there was plenty of conservative types that I did get along with, because at the end of the day, facts are facts, numbers are numbers. And when we're, you know, getting lots of numbers and making money, what's going on here? My computer's being, don't ask again. Oh, my dog is resting his fucking. He was resting his chin on the
Man,
thing.
that's
here.
funny. I don't. That's funny.
I'm like, what's going on? This is really not working right.
It's funny.
Yeah, now I could actually navigate. Okay. You know, but certainly, no, obviously, not everything here has got a full political statement, right? But at the end of the day, this is, you know, ecological based. You know, there's it looks like this is pretty high. Is this Lord of the Rings? Well, that's just straight up Lord of the Rings stuff. That looks great. Well, to make a longer story short, you know,
I love that shit right there. That's so cool.
Yeah, I wonder if I can zoom in. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
I wonder how many artists are doing a lot of heavily outer space themed tattoos now with NASA's latest images.
I was gonna, you know, we could do a segment on that for sure. I love that stuff. Yeah, James Webb.
Yes.
Yeah. If anybody's doing James Webb tattoos, let us know. If anybody wants to do James Webb tattoos and don't know a great tattooer to go to in your neck of the woods, let us know. We want to see lots of James Webb tattoos. We could do a segment with like the Skeptics Guides and some science podcasts if we did some slamming fucking galaxy tattoos. Do you want to make a note of that? Let's fucking do that.
Yeah, I bet you it'd be as fun to talk to someone like that as it was to talk to the archaeologist, an 100%. Anthropologist a while back.
Unless you're somebody who wants to attach themselves to the fantasy of UFOs and aliens. You don't want to talk to skeptics then.
Noted.
Yeah, I mean, unless you do, because again, skeptics are about evidence. You know, that's really strictly what. But anyways, the point is they're scientists and they like the galaxies and they're always talking about James Webb. I'm talking about the Skeptics Guide to the Universe podcast, and actually, you know, it's a really good inspiration for what we could potentially do with this. If we had writers and preparation.
It's funny, right?
I think maybe we get a little bit. I haven't even been in the chat rooms at all.
We're good. What's up, Jeremy, MCR, and Lost Boy? How you guys doing?
Awesome. Hey, let us know in the chat room then if some of your favorite artists, and if we have some time, we'll pull them up and show them off to everybody. Do the artists call it? Do you know? The other segment I really want to start is who did the tattoo? Right, so we could post up the awesome tattoo, and then the others have to guess who did it. So we all post up one tattoo, the others have to guess who did it. People in chat room guess who did it, and then we'll see who wins. So we should do that, and then the cover up 911. So if you have a shitty tattoo and you want some cover up ideas,
Yeah.
We could do the cover up 911 segment. So maybe we'll have a rotating one on this show, and I'll but the Tattoo Now show. I want to keep doing them all. And
yeah, you were going to segue into something you said.
Oh yeah, we were talking
Probably
politics, and so it's worth me, introducing it really briefly and then stepping back a bit. But there's a fair amount of tattoo shops who are pretty upset with the fascist theocratic takeover, and it's hard to not describe it like that because technically that actually is what's happening with the Supreme Court here. And also very inspired by Roger Waters. I don't know if anybody's been checking out Roger Waters clips from his new tours, but it starts off with him saying, if you're one of those fans who love Pink Floyd but hate Roger Waters' politics, you should go fuck off to the bar. And, I think that if there's one thing that tattooing teaches us is that, we should definitely not have to shy away from who we are. Where the hell is this link? God damn it. Now, of course, oh, here we go. Okay. So I want to highlight some of the news items here. Maybe while you talk about your feelings about what's going on with the Supreme Court's decisions, we'll highlight some of the tattoo shops who are doing fundraisers or have done fundraisers for pro-choice, women's health causes. Okay. So I guess I don't even know how to pass it off, but so we're talking about how the Supreme Court's recently overturned the Roe versus Wade, the 50 years of precedent. And, obviously that's had a tremendous effect on people. And again, these are the tattoo shops that are doing fundraisers, right? So this is I'll just run this a little bit. I've been chatting too much. I yield the floor.
Yeah, so this would, I don't necessarily know exactly what to say here because, I am a mother of two, and I do understand the absolute and total stress of becoming pregnant and that initial onset and the fear and all of these different things. And I do know that I am happy to see that tattoo parlors are able to make political statements like that. And it's not just 1, 2, 3. There's a lot of parlors out there and shops that are fundraising heavily for this type of thing. I just don't know the means to an end for something like this with such a drastic change in the decision.
Well, when people are like, what's the difference between Hillary and Trump, right? It's like, there's a lot of politicos and a lot of people that follow the pundits and stuff that are like, the Supreme Court is what? And this was written on the walls, right? This was deliberate, and it's easy to get disenchanted with politics when one side's bought off and half of the other side's bought off. But again, part of it is these are things that it's the deliberate actions that we take or don't take, and there's when people say what's the difference, this is actually one of the differences, and sometimes this stuff takes years to come to fruition. I mean, it does. It takes years. There's a video that I posted up of Frank Zappa, talking about the fascist theocratic takeover, in the 80s. I know I have friends of mine that left the country, the expats. They boogied out of here again in the late 80s when shit was getting wet. When it started. Point is, not caring or apathy, it basically is not really, it is kind of what happens, right? Like, if there's too many people that think that they can't make a choice, an effect, then they can't. And right now, the people that want to, and again, they want to control bodies, really, right? So this is the same segment that outlaws tattoos. And again, these are other more health related concerns that far outweigh the tattoos, but it's the same. Yeah, it's the same vein. Ugh. So okay, so this is Mariah in Eureka, California, and if you do a search for any of these headlines, you'll find the the articles. A tattoo. This is in Eureka, California. This is a pretty sick looking site.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. I love that area of California.
1000%. It's yeah, I mean, obviously this is what it actually looks like. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, who's some of my other favorite tattooers? Adrian Lee has always
Mhm.
been a pretty big inspiration about being a tattooer who's pretty clear about how his voice is, morally driven. Again, it enters into politics, but it's more of a moral and philosophical standpoints. And he's always doing fundraisers and putting his opinions out there. And as a he's a great role model as like a male. I don't want to put words or labels on him, but as somebody who's definitely for equality and feminism in the context of equality, it's always very refreshing to see somebody of such influence just again speak his opinion.
Todd, our friend Todd, of course. And if you're watching, I'm sure you're watching. He usually shares information or something, but like Megan Jean Morris was pretty active, and that was really cool to see because she's a badass chick, and it's cool to see her put herself out there and protest and stuff like that. But
oh, that's cool. So what's this? Can you tell me a little bit more? I don't.
She was upset with the ruling for sure, and made it known. Let's just say.
Oh yeah, so like there posts or.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, great. Megan Jean Morris is obviously one of the best tattooers that exists too.
Oh yeah.
Now off to the Instagrams. So yeah, look her up, Megan Jean Morris.
I gotcha.
And oh, boom, there you go, perfect.
Yeah, she's a badass. If you guys ever run into Todd, let him show you his work by her.
Yeah, that's great. The protests are, the politicians do actually have to listen. And as I think that democracy is it's the most fucked up, dysfunctional form of government that exists, except for most of the others. It is. I remember being taught that I couldn't really make a difference, or that my voice doesn't matter. A good friend, Dave Furlow, it was probably 20 years ago. He was like, if I was a little bit, I don't know if he said it exactly like this, but the way I received it was like, if I was more nefarious and I wanted to control large amounts of people, I might educate them that they couldn't make a difference. When in fact, they are the only thing that actually can make a difference, is like actual people actually saying yes or no to decisions based on, beliefs that are driven by facts. And, again, some of this, I was an Episcopalian only because my mom had a crush on the pastor. I was single mom, troubled kid, went to a Catholic school where they taught me that I was going to hell, and they were very anti-abortion. And, that was 30 years ago, 35 years ago.
It's funny, if you want to subtract 100 years, I remember my grandmother in Brussels when the war was happening, she would tell me like she was on the border of Germany, and how when they bombed the Catholic churches and stuff like that, and everything went to rubble, they'd find shoe boxes of children all everywhere underneath the church. Mm-hmm. So anti-abortion, really.
Well, I really appreciate the burning church tattoos of Benjamin Laukus. Because if the corrupt nature of especially the Catholic Church, and I mean, it's unbelievable that people will be like going to shoot up pizza restaurants for pedophilia when it's like there's clear, people who are hiding up an institution, a generational institution of pedophilia. And again, the goal is to have everybody heal from their traumas so that they don't have to pass it on to the next generation or two of people. So, violence is never the answer. And when Notre Dame was burning, I thought to myself, this is horrifying artistically and culturally. It's making great reference, but man, like I do want to make sure historically we keep as much of that intact. Well, but again, they have no moral high ground, and that's where it's so hypocritical. It's so control based. And again, it is the same mentality that tries to control tattoos, in my opinion. I'll just wrap up my little rant. For me, I think that the same forces, either understand or explicitly or unexplicitly, they just, when you take away the power of people to tattoo themselves, and again, they did this, this is one of the reasons why it was pushed to the outskirts of the islands and to the sailors and whatnot. When it used to be for royalty, again, it's gone and paths, but it's self-empowering, and people can, use tattoos to put images on themselves, to remind themselves of things, or to conjure the things that they want. And that's not going to go away. And if the tattooer, who is in a shamanic role, if they choose to be, is guiding the person, again, not your 20-year-old, hipster tattooer, no offense, you got a time and place for everybody, but your Marty Holcombs, your people that have seen, or your Shanghai Kates, people that have seen 40 years of decisions and that kind of wisdom being as part of a tattoo. Anyways, I don't think it was unintentional that the powers that be took that away from us. And I do think that it's also not a coincidence that as tattooing is able to spread and has spread through the cultures and the communities, I don't know, that people are actually able to become more who they want to be. Anyways, they could take it. So maybe I would like people that have found that the power of tattooing has helped them become who they want to be, can also understand that, that's an example of how your effect in the community can also change the community. I don't know, whatever, we're fucked.
Little, speaking of community, I've been really enjoying the business course that I've kind of embarked on that journey with you. I wasn't able to be there last week. I was in Virginia, but yeah, it's if anybody, I don't know if we're still having people join or how it works, but it's been really cool to kind of get with people about making an impact globally, but within our communities first.
Yeah, I'd love to talk. Yeah, we could talk about that a little bit. And and you were somebody who's brought it up. In the context of reinventing, I remember it was like a year ago. You're like, hey, we should be doing a benefit. In the past, to set the stage a little bit, I've helped my previous businesses and shops run benefits, right? And so it's one of the times where we get to promote. Actually, we get to run through all of our business exercises in the context of a benefit, and it's like running a management event, like with training wheels, or it's even like, because you're doing it for a benefit, people want to help. People want to help it succeed, and that includes the team, and it includes the community. And so I've often found that I get to refine my business processes by running events, benefit events, not just any event, because we do run events and we make some money sometimes, we lose some money sometimes, but when we're doing a benefit event, it's never a loss. And so it's fun, and because you were bringing it back up, I think maybe one or two other people, again, enough people keep talking about things, and then all of a sudden we can make them happen. So the answer is yes, people are still able to sign up. Okay. And as TattooNow is now evolving one more round, I think, we've talked a bit about the technology tools that I've brought into TattooNow. I think what's going to happen is I'm going to shift over, the business people that bought the business course always get the business course, of course. They always get the business course, of course. But I'm gonna start simplifying my shit, where it's like we do, the $99 a month, $200 a month, and $400 a month packages. They include the technology, they include the business classes, they include, the larger packages. The professional package will include the once a month for all professionals. The studio package will include a once a month just for studio specific issues, and then just boom, do it like that. But then shift all of the lessons that should be free or could be free to the benefit. So I could open source. I want to open source, as much as possible.
Yeah, it's been cool. I know that I've really liked kind of reconnecting with Damon Tesh, meeting Jackie and James and the guys involved. It's been really cool. It's crazy how, with tattooers with such creative minds, when you put us in a room together, or artists in general, it's like fireworks, all of our ideas kind of come together, and even if they're off the wall, they explode beautifully.
Oh, no, 100%. And, you know, one of the benefits of having, 10 years of benefit documentation is that for the most part, when people are coming up with the ideas, I'm like, ooh, I could, pick that shit together, put it together. But we worked on press releases. It was really fun to go
Oh,
after
I
press
missed it.
release.
Yeah. I'll circle back in the Learn Worlds.
Oh yeah, we have the video. It was really great. James had submitted one of his press releases, and it was good, and it had the meat and but every once in a while I'm like, I hope I could do this stuff right. But it was great because I was able to like put in 5 to 10 minutes of editing and just sharpen it up. I mean, that's what I like to do, right? Is take something that is already like 90% of the way there and get it to like 98%, and then get it, it has to be finished off obviously by the project. But anyways, yeah, the press releases are a great way to, well, again, if you want to have your voice out there in the public sphere, right, in the media, understanding how to just write a press release so that it gets written about in these articles, right? So as I was sharing the screens, these are all, people will copy paste your press release for better or worse. Everybody's so overworked that you write a good press release, they'll just fucking copy paste that shit. A DC parlor raised $16,000 for abortion funds last week. Over 75 people are tattooed in a little over 10 hours. $16,000. Could you imagine if even a quarter of the fundraisers that we're doing in November? So we're doing one in November. I think we even have a date. Could raise 16,000. Holy shit. Now, obviously, Tattoo Paradise is an established shop that has been around. I mean, I don't know if it says when, but they've been around for a very long time. They're definitely well known. Matthew Knopp, they're like an awesome traditional, I believe, studio. Then what else? We have this guy, Gambits Inc., talking about the Supreme Court nonsense. This guy seems like a pretty cool artist. He's got a good little rant here. And then a Resist. This is kind of like a little bit of a darker kind of a feel to, to support it. I mean, it's fun to see people to kind of do their shit that they can. And let's see, what do we have? Oh, this is the an RIP. This is for, well, maybe for our closing segment. We could always do a in memory of people, but okay. Well, so to wrap that up, please, your tattooers, you have tremendous influence over your clients and your communities. And I suppose I begrudgingly say, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, you should start to jump in and have an active voice. I'm going to say, if you're for free, I'm going to leave it at that, I suppose. And may the stronger ideology, prevail. But
I realized yesterday I was at a little event with my kids, and I stumbled across this woman, and she just so happened to be like the executive director for suicide prevention, Fox Cities, where I live, thing. And once I started talking to her, I realized like some of these things like that, like she's like, we have 100 volunteers. And I'm thinking, you have only 100 volunteers out of all the people. There's hundreds of thousands of people, and you have 100 people who are dedicated to helping others in the worst time of their life. So I'm really excited to kind of embark on that journey. But I think like the beautiful thing about benefits is that it's like a spark in your mind, and that spark is really useful in other outlets. So, I mean, doing and practicing this type of empathetic action is really good for your career, good for yourself, good for your art and your community.
Empathetic action, it's funny how more often that terminology is coming up in tattooing. Like I'm just thinking like the Reinventing Network has 2 shows now that have the word feelings in them, right? We have Ricardo's been doing his for over a year now, and Robbie Ripple, who's doing his at Mondays now at 5:00. And
I want to hop on with him tonight, actually.
Awesome. It's just amazing that shift from, and again, I don't think it was undeliberate and I would like to talk to some more historians about it, because there's discussions about the actual mythology of tattoos and whatnot. I don't know. Sorry, I lost where I was going with it. Those history talks are amazing, though.
Yeah.
Reinventing feelings. I don't know. I guess mostly, yeah. It's like the empathy part is something that I believe tattoos will help introduce into people's lives personally. Like, um,
And within the realm of suicide and such like that, like tattoos are really strangely helpful, and art and seeing it in your body changing and symbolic. I feel like if anyone else that's watching this has that kind of inclination to help somebody find out some of those suicide prevention uh, organizations in your area.
oh yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously we've known some pretty amazing tattooers who we've lost to suicide,
Yeah.
and it's always very shocking and traumatic. And I don't know. I've been pretty lucky that it's been relatively fleeting for me, but again, this is where it's like I do feel like we have one go, right? We're here for one round, on Earth, and we are a miracle of the universe experiencing itself for a very, very, very short amount of time that is already undetermined. So I mean, in short, if my completely untrained, you're going to die soon enough. Like, you don't need to rush it. Don't worry, it's coming. For better or worse.
It's funny. The lady had told me, she said she thought I was an artist, and really I was explaining to her the manufacturing aspect. She's like, there's so many warning signs, and as when you're seeing someone come in and come in and come in, you might be their only set of ears. And so as an artist, you're hearing these things. And she told me, well, there's training on what to listen for, like example, nobody likes me, or stuff like that. And I think artists are hearing all these things, and they're in situations. So I feel like there's training for stuff like that. Not like saying that you need to be a source for these people, but like referring them or recognizing signs that maybe you can hand them a card or tell them.
I think you should invite her on. We should invite her on to talk about this.
Yeah, I'm going to go see her
again,
in like half an hour.
Awesome. A good 15-minute conversation about some signs to look for. We should also do the same thing for trafficking. And again, it's both of those horror, it's very good for people, for tattooers to be
who I would like
to your point
to is
cued in on
it. He goes by Dirty Burke on Instagram. His name, I would love to bring him on too. He does a lot of those human trafficking cover-ups for free and stuff like that. He's got a wonderful story, kind of realizing everybody deserves a second chance or third.
Oh, great. Yeah, I mean, clearly it's begrudgingly, if there's progress, everyone deserves not an unlimited amount of chances. I guess, or definitely, it depends on the offense, I suppose, right? That's why we have court systems. Never mind, I fucking give up. We're done. We're fucked.
Well, on another note, Gabe, I am so excited about us Raw being into Europe. It is a totally other note, and I've been talking about it for so long, but it's here. It's finally here, and a big thing for us, like I keep saying, was getting.
Can you screen share something for us while you're talking about it?
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, I know that the inks have been obviously wicked big news in Europe because of the tightening of the regulations and the changing of the ways that the regulations are tightening. But these are now for sale, or going to be for sale in Europe.
We're actually launching them next week. So
great.
The first place anybody can actually get them right now is just pre-orders, but we'll do something at the Titanic Tattoo Convention. So if anybody's over watching from Europe and you're going to be there, this is going to be an awesome show. So Michael from Sick Cartridges, he just started, he purchased a show recently. I think this is his first one, but the Titanic show itself has been going on for a long time. And that's in Belfast, Ireland.
I do want to put forth that that's the show that Durban Savannah met.
I'm not sure. We'll have to ask. But if you'd like to go next summer, Gabe, if you would, let's go.
You know, whenever anybody buys my plane ticket, I'm fucking there.
All right, I'll start saving now.
Yeah, well, I'm not
ticket.
expecting you to buy my plane ticket, you know,
Whatever.
but for better or worse, for my travel these days,
Yeah.
and it's usually have to have it covered because otherwise, my bills are like, maybe you probably shouldn't just be flying places. But on the other hand, Ireland is awesome. We did the Emerald Isle tattoo sessions a couple of years, I think 3 or 4 years, with Martin McIver. And this is actually why we were over there. So Derb was over with, I don't remember if it was Jeff Gogway and Baxter that year. I don't know, it was a couple different lineups. But we did the Emerald Isle tattoo session. It was amazing. You know, when Martin's one of the things that he does is runs like group activities for companies, like I think big companies. I don't know if he still does, but like Facebook and Google and whatnot. So you know, I had the great idea. I was like, well, you know, Martin, that's what you do. So we should do team building. You should do your thing with the tattoo crew, right? We're going to do the Emerald Isle for 2 days. And he's like, dude, tattooers are way too fucking cool to be doing that shit. And I'm like, no, we should do it. And he's like, dude, they're fucking tattooers. They wear black shirts and mope. They're not going to go around doing fucking the wave with people. And I'm like, we only have, I was like, I don't know, we only have one shot to make this stuff happen, right? I'm never gonna fucking do that shit ever. I hate it. And so we did it. We had a panel. The second day we had a panel, and then we had like 2 or 3 teams go out, right? And you know, it's a scavenger hunt. So we get the fucking and you know, and Jeff's there and Nick's there, and they're like, I don't really want to do this shit. I'm too cool for this. And I'm like, I'm too cool for this. And like, I'm fucking too cool for this too. And there's like 4 people that are like, yeah, I love doing this stuff.
That'd be me.
That would be you, you know. And so then all of a sudden we all go off and we're doing our thing, and you know, there was like 2 or 3 pubs that were involved, and we all ended up at the pub. And at the end, everyone was, you know, it was fun, and everyone was bonding and telling jokes about how many people they got to do the wave together, and it was begrudging. You know, I still don't know if I've gotten an honest answer from Nick or Jeff whether they enjoyed it or not. I think they completely deny having any fun, but I think that's because if they knew that if they admitted even just a little bit that they liked it, enjoyed it, that they'd have to be doing it again, or like schedule it again. So, but that said, 8 years later or 5 years later, I've talked to tattooers that were at that event, that met other tattoo shops and other people at that event, that they still do guest spots. You know, they still, you know, those events and in-person gatherings are, you know, do create, you know, some pretty awesome connections, networking connections, I guess.
Yeah. So, yeah, in terms of that, I didn't really screen share. I just kind of showed a little post that we made, but we've got 50 colors coming out. And it's crazy because like we're looking at it and we're really down with our line. Like we get great reviews on our actual line, but like with this EU line, it's different. It's completely different. There's different regulations, different pigments, same formula, but like the coverage is good. You know, we were looking at it and using it, testing it and all that stuff. And we're really, really, really happy with it. Not surprisingly, but excited, you know, because we thought that we were going to suffer on a few things because just the way that the regulations are and what you can and can't have. But so far, great.
No shit, there's more people watching now than there was when we started.
What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in.
But I do need to run because I do have a hard out at 12 noon. I get to go to class. I get this class is all about tracking. It's but it's not creepy tracking. This is just like reporting of all the creepy tracking that we already do. It's not creepy. Everyone does it. No, not everyone does it.
One of the first times I met you, this was it was years ago. And you're like, yeah, I noticed you were on the site and you were doing this and that. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't know that was possible. And yet you can see exactly what I'm doing.
Oh, you know, there's so much that, I mean, and you know it, right? So like in closing, you know, when you're worried about, you know, if there's actually a difference who gets put on the Supreme Court when you're weighing your freedoms, yeah, the phones, you know, when you're thinking, man, I'm depressed, I could really use a trip to Vegas for free booze. and your phone is like, "Break alert from, American Airlines. Would you like a free flight to Vegas and a 6-pack of cheap beer?" I'm like, how did you know? It's because, the phones give us all these signals, and the phones and the computers and all this stuff, and they're all trackable. So, reinventing and tattoo now, just luckily want to educate people. We do want to sell you some stuff, but we're more interested in educating people. If we ever get salespeople on board, then look out. But for now, actually, it is amazing. But anyways, I'll talk about that on the Tattoo Now show, because it's. I'm telling you, there's a 10 to 20% chance I'm fucking dropping a nuclear bomb. That's a very bad metaphor these days. Fucking the Ukraine benefit is still going on. Reinventingthetattoo.com/Ukraine, and there's a Robert Hernandez print. You can see in the background here. There's a digital version of it. They're signed. $100 for a signed fucking print from Robert Hernandez. There's more left. I haven't really been pushing it much, but
that's a great idea.
Awesome, cool. Well, hey, let me run, and we'll catch up with everybody in the near future.
All right, bye guys.